playing ooh, with sounds and getting everyone on, making sure you're muted everywhere and that we're live everywhere. Alright. Alright. Live on Instagram. Gonna make sure we're live in the Facebook event. Make sure that we are good. Alright. Definitely want to get people commenting to make sure we're good to go. I am a student, which I am not used to doing. So I'm hoping that that's working. And if not, well, we will be in lots of other places not seeing it in a Facebook event. So I'm gonna keep messing with this real quick to make sure that we are everywhere we're supposed to be. If you are joining us from wherever you're joining us from, then please make sure to comment and say hello. So I am not seeing it everywhere, but we're gonna figure this out. I've never done this particular way, so this is interesting. It's showing up here, so I'm hoping that it is there. And we are live somewhere because I can't tell. Need someone to give me some feedback somewhere so I can tell that we are live. Because it is all over the place. All right, well, the good news is it will post. And so if, hi, Ariana. Okay, Ariana, where are you? Okay, you're coming in from LinkedIn. Okay, good. So at least I know it's working on LinkedIn. That's a good start. Because I can't tell if it's working everywhere other than I know it's working on LinkedIn and I know it's working on Instagram. I don't know if it's working on Facebook, which is where I need it to work most, but you know, it's all right. So I'm going to get into it and I am going to manage it afterwards. If it didn't end up doing what it needed to do, at least I can post it live one way or another. Ariana, let me know if there's some feedback or if I'm reverberating in some way, because you're the only one that I can see right now that's live that I can ask questions to, because I feel like I'm getting some feedback in here that I can't tell. And I just want to make sure everything sounds good. So I'm kind of playing here. Taking a minute to make sure that we are good to go. Looks like it's on here, but I can't tell how. So Okay, we're just going to keep going. I can tell I have a little feedback, but I don't know why. I'm not sure how to fix it, so I'm just going to keep going. Thank you, Ariana. I'm not sure why there's feedback. I can't figure that out. I'm wondering. I'm going to try. It might be this reason, but I can just change that. So, oh, actually, this is why. Nope, it's also muted. Okay, I don't know. But you said you could hear me okay, so I'm just going to keep rolling. So here we go. Welcome. Only took about 5 minutes to get that figured out. So those of you who are joining us live and those of you who join us on the recording, please make sure to just drop in and say hello. If you are with us live, drop in the comments where you're joining us from. If you are in Texas, where you're in Texas. If you're joining us from out of state, where out of state. Oh, I can hear the feedback. It's killing me. Let's see here. I'm going to try removing. Oh, that's not going to change it. Okay. This is what happens when you start messing with technology and wanting to make it all work. Let's see what happens when I do that. That sounds like it made it go away. So I'm going to have to mess with that later. All right, so here we go. Thanks for being willing to join in and join live, those of you who are, and thank you for the grace and the patience around getting this all figured out. That was a really long time into the time. So here we go. So today we're talking about what we call the be, do, have model, and really getting into the fact that we live in a hustle culture. That is my belief system. That is our belief system, that we are defined by what we do and what we have. And sometimes it is so strong that it can keep us in these spaces of being unfulfilled, of being feeling stuck and upset and really quite miserable in our life, in our career, in our relationship, in our own body. When we're experiencing this gotta do, gotta do, gotta do, gotta do, gotta have, gotta have, gotta have, gotta have, right? And it's so much so that we tend to forget, who is it that we want to be? Who do you want to be in this life? Who do you want to be in this world? Right? How do you want to show up in this world? Not just what are you doing and what are you having? And it's gotten flipped so backwards of, I have to do this or I have to have that before I can be. Right? It's these, oh, social media and entertainment has done a great job at really nailing this into our culture of, I got to have the body before I can have the relationship, right? I've got to have the success before I can have the happiness. When in reality, it is the other way around, because we are in control of how it is that we choose to feel at all times, at any time. It just doesn't seem that way much because we're not taught that, right? It's so much around, I'm supposed to do this, do this, do this, do this, have this, have this, have this. And it comes up even when, we ask ourselves, who are we? Who are you? Who are you in your reality? Who are you out in the world? And most people, clients, students alike, will answer, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm an athlete, I'm a CPA, I'm a lawyer, I'm a reader, whatever it might be. There are all of these things that we tend to label ourselves as. But in reality, those are things that we do. Those are roles that we play, but they aren't who we actually are. Yet they define us. And then those things disappear, go away, they aren't there anymore. And sometimes we find ourselves in this sense of, well, then who am I? I mean, me personally, I was in a career for 12 years as a teacher and a coach. I was successful. I was doing a really good job and I enjoyed it. And I chose to leave that career to go find out what else I can do. Notice I didn't say be because I wasn't there yet. I realized that I was doing what I wound up doing. How I got to that point is a whole nother story in and of itself, but we got only so much time. But I figured out I was doing what I wound up doing. It made me wonder, well, what else can I do? So I decided to take this leap of faith and leave teaching and coaching, leave my 12-year successful career, and go find out, well, what else can I do? And what was interesting is once I got out of doing what I'd always been doing, I realized that I didn't know who I was. I was so defined by being a state championship coach and teacher that now I don't even know who I am anymore. It was who I was. It became the definition of me, even though that had nothing to do with who it is I wanted to be in this world, how I want to show up for other people, how I want to show up for myself and the people that I love and care about. So this happens a lot when we ask people, who are you? They give us these titles and these roles that they play. When in reality, when we're talking about who do you want to be and who are you, what we're looking for is more like, I'm compassion. I am authenticity. I am integrity. I am, excuse me, I am deep. I am driven. I am motivated. I am excited, right? These are ways that are defining ourselves for ourselves in a way that we can show up both in our community, our families, our careers, in ways that allow us to experience that sense of fulfillment and freedom versus having it attached to this thing that we do or this thing that we have or this thing that we achieve that becomes this definition that we can't maintain, can't uphold. And then that starts to get so heavy. Who am I? Or am I doing the right thing? Maybe I'm not in the right job. Maybe I'm not in the right relationship. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I'm not that because of, and it's usually this external conversation versus getting really clear about, well, who is it that I want to be? How do I want to be known in the world? How do I want to show up? How do I want to be understood? How do I want people to speak about me and talk about me and say about me? So it's who do you want to be? What kind of description, what kind of words would you use when thinking about who you want to be, how you really want to be seen, understood, and known as a human on this planet in the little bit of time that you have? For me, it's definitely things like compassionate, authentic, integral, empowering, confident, challenging. Like those are words that really describe who I am. Goofy, goofy for those of you who actually get to see that side of me. Loving, kind, right? Compassionate is a big one. Connecting. How can you start to define yourself from who it is and how it is that you desire to show up in the world and for people to know you? Instead of attaching this whole thing to it's what I do and it's what I have. Because again, this plays into this hustle culture that we've created, which isn't for everybody, by the way. This whole just do it. It just takes motivation. It just takes determination. It just takes everything you got. I don't agree. I don't agree that everybody should be hustling their face off for everything. Sometimes the best way to get what it is that we want is to actually back off and to back up and to not be so available. But we live in a world that has defined us as it's what you do and it's what you have. How much of it, how big, how far, how long, all those things. Instead of who are you for people? So it makes me wonder when it comes to these goals, because we're February. It's here, y'all. We are in February already. How in the world did that happen, by the way? How did we already get into February? I really don't even, I'm like, how is it February already? But many of you set goals. Many of you set major intentions. Many of you have it where you've got all these things that you want to achieve, all these things that you want to do, all these things that you want to have. And we get so focused on these things we want to do and want to have associated with those goals that we forget who it is that we need to be to achieve those things. So I want to kind of tie this together with what is it that you're aiming for this year? What is it you're aiming for this quarter? Okay, I can finally see my Instagram, by the way. I see you, Freddie. I see you, Olga. I see you, Kelly. I see you, Mark. Thank you for joining live. Apologize for all of the craziness that's happening. I'm sure there's all kinds of fun stuff going on with my live. But I can see y'all if you want to chat with me. But take the goals that you set. P.S. The day to give up on your it's so funny that there's actually a day. The day to give up on your New Year's resolutions was like January 19th or something like that. And it just makes me laugh because we know as a society that about 3 weeks into January, most people give up on what it is that they said they were going to do this year. And I believe it's partially because we're setting these goals with this do, hustle, gotta get in and grind culture versus like, who do I want to be in the world? It's so much easier to achieve your goal or manifest your reality if you actually know who you want to be in those situations. Because if I want to show up as authentic and integral and kind while I'm being a public speaker, while I'm hosting immersive trainings, when I do private coaching, those things are a lot easier for me to maintain and achieve and stick with because I know who I want to be. I'm clear on how I want to show up. And that just makes all the difference. All of the difference. Being able to do that way. And I just got distracted because one of my live streams just went bye-bye. You gotta love technology, y'all. I'm going to have to try this again. This first one is going to be like a drop in the box, learning and taking the feedback and moving on. Because something over here just like stopped working and I don't know what it is. So I'm probably going to make this first one a little short and let you know that our intention is actually to be creating a monthly opportunity to go even deeper, 90 minutes deeper into all of these kinds of topics versus just the little bite-sized pieces as well. So I want you to take the goals that you've created this first quarter, and I want you to consider, did you ask yourself, why is this important to me and who do I want to be? Versus what do I want to do and what do I want to have? Add in that element so that your brain, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind can get on board and get excited to do what it is that you have set out to do. If I say I want to make $1 million and I just want to make $1 million, but I don't consider who I'm going to have to be to make that $1 million, who I have to be in the world, it's not going to be that simple to get to. It's going to take way more effort, way more hustle, and way more stuff that I don't want to do. Because my number one goal this year is to be less available. Is to do less and make more, which I think we'd all love to get to. An opportunity where we're not having to do so much to achieve this thing that we want to achieve, because there's this push and pull. You've probably heard people talk about the masculine and the feminine energy, the forceful energy versus the flow energy, and finding ways to let things come to you versus feeling this need to constantly just push and push and push and push, because we are not all built to just push and push and push and push and keep just going into it and just digging in. We're not all built that way. I'm not built that way. It's taken me 35 years to figure that out. But I know that I'm not. And I'm working on that this year. How can I do less, but do more of what lights me up? Allowing me to show up in my communities, my family, my friends, my career in a way that adds even more value to everyone I have in contact with. So, have you considered who it is that you're going to be instead of just what is it that I'm going to do and what is it that I'm going to have? How can you start to shift your mindset? A fun activity that you can play with, because when it's the same way if you journal in the mornings, or you do any kind of things in the morning, visualization practices that really get you focused on what's important to you today. It gets you really focused, right? It gets your reticular activating system activated to be noticing, thinking about, and paying attention to certain things. So one way you can kind of start to practice this is every morning you can do some I am statements, but do them from a place of who you want to be that day, right? So I like to say it as I am who I say I am, and who I say I am is. So I am who I say I am, and who I say I am is. And I'll say confidence, authenticity, integrity, and flexibility. That's what I'm claiming right now. Flexibility through all of the issues that are happening on this live stream. And when you claim those things, I am confidence, I am flexibility, I am authenticity, I am integrity, I am compassion. It's like you're lighting up your brain to be ready to be that all day, to show up that way, to act that way, to think that way. And it's really fun when you bring other people into it for the day and like, hey, this is who I am today. Especially someone who's around you a bunch. Because at the end of the day, they can be like, yeah, you really showed up that way. I had a friend of mine, an ex-assistant coach. We would tell each other our statements for the mornings, and then we'd just kind of watch each other to see, how did you show up that way today? And did you? And here's where I saw it. And here's where I could really hear what you were doing and how you were being exactly who you said you wanted to be today. And it's just a really fun way to start practicing not worrying so much about what did I do today? What did I have today? What did I create today? But instead, who was I being today? And what kind of impact did that have? So I will acknowledge that all of the technical issues have kind of thrown me off my game, in sense of like my plan for what I wanted to talk about is kind of losing. And I have some notes, but I've already gone through all of my notes because I keep noticing where things are not working on this live stream. So I'm going to scratch this up to a learning opportunity to figure this out even more for the next one, which we're going to be doing every Monday. Well, every first Monday of the month at 1:30 to 2 p.m. And the goal will be to go live in our Mode of Action Facebook event, which I sure hope it's doing right now, and it might not be. As well as some of our personals, like this is being streamed on my Instagram as well as my LinkedIn. It's also being streamed on our YouTube channel, Life by Choice, and as well as Irina's private Facebook page. So we'll work on getting the kinks worked out, but I hope that at least this little bit of thought today has you think newly, has you see something newly, has you experience life in a different way, and gives you some perspective that maybe you hadn't been thinking about. And if you did get something, please drop something in the comments. Let me know. Especially let me know if this was working just fine and I was just in my head. I'm always open to that feedback too. And we'll be back. We'll be back and we'll have an opportunity for you guys to jump on to a much longer, not much longer, a 90-minute version of really a deeper dive into a mini workshop whenever you want to get into those. They'll be coming up monthly as well. So I appreciate those of you that did jump on live. Ariana, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for giving me some feedback to understand if you guys could hear me. Those of you that were on Instagram, I think it kicked me out. I apologize. And I know it kicked me out of Urina's stuff. So we're just going to roll with it and see how it goes and make sure that we get the kinks worked out for next time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining and hope to see you again soon.